This book focuses on Matthias, who was the oldest of the three kids in Book 3. Their school's raided by the population police in the middle of the night. All the kids are packed into trucks to be taken to a work camp. Matthias manages to undo his seat belt, which is such a triumph that I was actually a little confused. Was it a special seatbelt? Or do people in this dystopian future not know how seatbelts normally work? Matthias tries to use a nail to cut through Percy and Alia's seatbelts. When he runs out of time, he uses the nail to puncture the truck's tire. The truck crashes into a tree, and Alia is badly injured. Percy and Matthias take Alia with them as they flee into the woods. They wander across a big shootout at a cabin, where the population police kill 17 rebels. Percy is shot and badly injured. Matthias is now the only one who can still walk. He drags his friends to the cabin and makes a thorough search. He finds a secret underground bunker with a safe full of fake IDs. I'd sure like to know who built this cabin, how, and why, but sadly we never find out. Matthias gets his friends settled on the beds, he tends to their wounds as best as he can, then leaves to find help. He goes to Hendrik's school and gets Dr. Talbot. By the time they return to the cabin, everything and everyone is gone. Not everyone. There is a man in a tree with a gun. He tries to motion a warning to Matthias, but Matthias doesn't understand. And so Matthias is in the line of fire when the man starts a shootout with 4 population police officers. Matthias dives behind a car with one of the officers. He hotwires the car and drives them away to safety. The officer introduces himself as Tidwell, or Tiddy. He inducts Matthias into the population police. Matthias could not have picked a better officer to save, because Tidwell is pretty high up in the organization. The commander loves Tidwell like a son. Matthias is instantly popular when Tidwell introduces him as a grand hero who saved him from dozens of rebels. Matthias is surprised to see Nina working in the cafeteria. He secretly meets with her several times. Nina explains she and several others have infiltrated the population police, following the events of last book. Their plan has gone quite badly. They've all been assigned to menial jobs where everything they do is watched. It's not much of a rebellion. Tiddy makes another trip to the cabin. It proves to be fatal. He dies from poison. This only increases Matthias' standing with the population police. He's given a private room attached to the commander's office and has several weeks to mourn. The commander shows off the police's secret plan. He takes Matthias to their giant storeroom filled with decades worth of food. Matthias is shocked that they'd purposely let food rot when people are starving to death. Matthias starts spying on the commander. He learns that, actually, the food is kind of irrelevant to the police's plan. Their secret plan is a foolproof technique to distinguish between real IDs and fake IDs. They've collected every ID in the country so they can identify all the people with fakes. The police will get rid of all the third children and their enemies in one fell swoop. The IDs are being kept with the food, under the assumption that rebels wouldn't dare hurt secret food that the general population knows nothing about. Matthias comes up with a simple plan to hand out flyers that say, "Free food, come get your food here!" His plan goes into action, with Matthias distracting the people in the control room so he can sneak out with a guy named Mike. Mike has the flyers, but they are all backwards. They make the population police look like food-saving heroes instead of food-hoarding villains. Mike poses as a higher-ranking officer to get the flyers distributed. The plan works perfectly. All the food is cleared out of the building before the rebels blow it up and destroy the IDs forever. Now no one will ever know who's real and who's fake. As a bonus, the commander arrives right before the explosion. By saving the commander and a guard, Matthias becomes even more of a hero to the population police. Matthias stops by Hendrik's and learns that all his friends are still alive. Matthias refuses to leave Percy and Alia again. But he has to go back to the population police, right? He's practically their second in command now. The end. Post-book follow-up. This was a pretty intense book. The entire series is that way, but this one features multiple shootouts and almost 20 dead bodies. I did see a complaint that things worked out too well for Matthias. He stops a truck in an unknown spot, which just happens to be a day's walk from the cabin, which just happens to be a day's walk from Hendrik's school. He becomes a major hero and well-trusted member of the population police in like 3 days without even trying. In some respects, things couldn't have worked out better for him if he had planned it. Seeing Matthias become the commander's favorite reminded me of the previous book where Trey quickly became a favorite of the warden, although Trey did that on purpose. Matthias is just in the right spot at the right time. Overall, I enjoyed the book. It's another strong entry in the series. Matthias is a new main character, but he's not so different from the others. They've all been scared, paranoid children who are in way over their heads. I give Shadow Children number 6, Among the Enemy, a 9 out of 10.